It gives us a way to judge and a way to gauge if the work we're doing is having impact, if it's good work, is it worthwhile? What's the good stuff we're doing? But I like to hear as well about the bad stuff, I want to know what isn't working. Yeah. So I think it's quite a good development tool for ourselves.
Yeah, I wanted to say that what's not working is quite useful to know, and then and then the next stage is obviously looking at what can be done differently as well.
To demonstrate, because we work with lots of community groups, to demonstrate the journey that they've been on, start of the inquiry and the support that they require to when they get to a point where they're happy to go off on their own.
I think both qualitative and quantitative evidence, obviously, because we need the numbers and the stats and everything like that to show, but we also need that kind of case study, more impact type evidence as well, to actually show the impact that it has on individuals, as well as the numbers and such like, which we need obviously for the funders too. So whether that's, through, questionnaires, through games, through case studies, gathering information via interviews, just I think a range to really show that impact.
The formal ways like evaluation forms, meeting people, have a video audio conversation, have an interview form, even the learning plan or individual student plan. It could be phone calls. Some often have a formal process set up and set number of evidence that we're looking into gathering, looking at the wide impact on wider community, or could be the family as well. An example given is working with a student with learning difficulties and how it impacts on the family.
Data's increasingly important, and one of the things that I often use, because I tend to use solution-focused approaches a lot, is you can introduce a scaling question for that. So it gives you a point at which the person feels is working well and room for growth, and it gives you the qualitative stuff. But as a counsellor, I'm always really, really interested in the person's actual experience. And that's the bit that I think has become less important because funders and decision makers, and especially with cuts, and it's all data. And I agree with Cheryl, it's important. But what's more important for me, and I would echo community learning, is the person's experience.
We were saying the observation side of things is that, it's a relatively easy thing to do for a member of staff. However, what your values are, and those of the group that you're working with, is quite subjective in terms of showing the impact there. And we also spoke slightly about the, such as the pros or cons of like questionnaires, because quite often questionnaires are the traditional methods that have been used in the past, but they don't always show impact. You don't get the additional information that you need, and they quite often ask questions that are probably not really relevant to your planning or what you're actually wanting to gather as your evidence.
It is that qualitative bit that really tells a story or paints a picture, and I think people relate to stories, and so you can throw a lot of numbers about, but if you have like kind of a powerful anecdote in there that like kind of personalizes or humanizes all those numbers, I think that's really important. What you were saying, Hazel, just about giving young people cameras and letting them tell each other stories, that sounds like quite a powerful thing to try and do, but it also sounds quite kind of complex to do. And the young people that we work with, a lot of them, we would try and get them to tell their stories or to engage actively in kind of reflection on what they're actually experiencing or going through as learners, but it's often kind of quite difficult to do, and they can kind of keep you at arm's length a little bit, and maybe they're not at a level of maturity to have those reflective conversations just about their own learning experience. So while that is a powerful means of gathering evidence, it can be kind of quite a tricky one to accomplish a lot of the time.